My name is Jono Yuen. I'm a creative director for interactive experiences. Hopefully you can see this pair of butt cheeks. And I'm just going to play a little intro and hopefully it works. So the butt cheeks are not actually butt cheeks, but actually a guy doing chin-ups. Can you see that?
Yes, we can see this.
Okay, so that's a
bit disappointed.
Bit of a
See,
stretch.
This is what I love about your content, Like, it's always like a twist in there, like always something, the punchline. Awesome.
Yeah. I think when I was doing this talk and calling it short shorts, so basically I'm going to talk about short stories, but I call them short shorts because they're like really, really short stories. And I thought it'd be funny to have a pair of short shorts for the thumbnail for the video, and then when you got here, you kind of see something a little bit unexpected, which is the theme for basically the whole talk and all the stuff that I'm going to go through. But so basically, I guess today I will go through what I think about these short shorts and what I mean and how I use them, and then I'll probably just go through like my approach and kind of how I generate ideas and then end up executing them in a short amount of time, and then do a demo. So I'll kind of fly through some of this stuff. But so I kind of started with why short shorts. So when I have a look at like Pixar short films, some of them like For the Birds, I think you might be familiar with that, is about 3 minutes long. Whereas the ones I'm talking about for Inktober are about 10 to 45 seconds long for the most part. And that's to do with like just one kind of moment in life, like just focusing on one idea. What's good about it is great for Instagram. It's good to get ideas out quickly. When I was younger, I had lots of dreams, like really vivid dreams. I wake up and I remember all of them, and they'd be quite strange. And I used to write about them and draw them out just so I can remember them. But when you think about your memories, and it doesn't really play out like a picture, it plays out more like a film. And so when I started playing with Quill, it turns out to be this medium where you're able to really punch these kind of what's in your brain out into an animation really, really quickly. And I've never really found that with anything else before. So these kind of short shorts are really great for letting people see what's in your mind, and kind of how your brain works as well, and kind of articulating what's in your head and make it visual for people to see. The other reason why I do these little short stories is to experiment. So basically, as a creative director, the fun part of my job is to kind of come up with different looks for different briefs, like different stories. And part of that is exploring the different looks. Quill's great for that, exploring different art direction styles, and it's an inexpensive way to kind of test concepts. I used to have a lot of unfinished work, a lot of game ideas that you start but don't finish. But nowadays, I think that's pretty common with lots of artists and stuff like that. But nowadays, I basically only do the ones I can finish. And instead, with the other ones, where there might be a nugget of an idea that's quite useful, I'll probably jump into Quill and just kind of quickly flesh that out, almost like a proof of concept. And when you put that through Quill, and sometimes, like I've exported to Sketchfab, where you can put it on an iPad and kind of just spin it around with your finger in 3D, you get a really good sense of whether or not like this can become a game eventually, without writing it even any single line of code. So that's a really great reason for doing these little short clips. So they're all these kind of proof of concepts. Good way to explore Quill. And I remember in the Discord group, someone had said they were ready to jump into Quill out a whole afternoon, but they didn't have any idea what to do. I had that once when I wanted to create a mobile game. I had that thought, but I didn't have an idea. So after that, I just chose an idea quickly so I had something to work with. But ever since then, I kept a list of ideas as I came across it, so that the next time I went to do a game idea, I'd have a huge list to work from. And so this is kind of a similar thing where, I'll punch out something quickly in Quill, maybe put it on Instagram, but you start building up a library of ideas. So when you start doing, you want to do a game or you have an idea for a short film, I can have a look through my catalog of these kind of short ideas and kind of pick one to kind of blow out, or I might kind of jumpstart other ideas. And the last reason why I do these things is because I'm extremely time poor. I've got two kids, one's 7 and one kinder, he's 3 years old. I've got a side project on, I'm working, I've got a job as well, and we're also renovating our house. So I'm extremely time poor. So when I'm jumping into Quill, I'm like, I was listening to that live stream with Leah Perini, I think it is, the one who did the
Leah Peirano, yes.
the one with the anime scene. And I was hearing about how patient she was with she was drawing little squares to texture her backgrounds, and she'd be lying in bed while doing Quill. And I thought, I'm the total opposite. I'm like running the Quill. I've only got 1 hour. I'm trying to keep my heart rate down so my goggles don't fog up. And I'm just like trying to work as quickly as possible. So
I can absolutely sympathize, man. Like for me, it's like I have 42 minutes. What can I do in this time?
Exactly. And it's the worst when you muck up and you just feel like you wasted all that time. So that's me. Like, I've got this massive sense of urgency. Like, ever since having a kid, I realized all my spare time's gone. My side projects are kind of whittled down to like nighttime when people are asleep, and I've just got like 1 hour to chip away at things. So you got to make those times count. And so, I don't know why, but I keep having all these little ideas. Like when you're walking down the street and you see something interesting, you think, "Oh, that's a funny thought," and you want to capture that somehow. Because I think when I go through later about my background, I think it'll make a bit more sense. But it's about collecting these kind of ideas. But soon your head just fills up with all these ideas, and you just want to get them out. So Quill's a good outlet for that. Just punch out an hour, get the idea out, put it out in the ether, and then clear your head. So that's kind of why I do this as well. So I started thinking back about why I like doing this stuff. And I remembered back when I was a kid. I don't know if you guys know this artist called Gary Larson. He does these books called The Far Side. So you did as well. I used to go to my friends' houses, and we didn't have Netflix, we didn't have PlayStations. So we just actually read these comic books. And I used to love them. And so I grabbed these two examples, one which says, "Come on, Dad, shoot the apple, shoot the apple." And then you read the little blurb down the bottom, and it says, "Unknown to most historians, William Tell had an older and less fortunate son named Warren." And so you look at the picture, and it was just like a really nice kind of idea encapsulated in one frame. And it's got, you look at the speech bubble, then you look at the picture, and then you look at the description, and then you look back at the picture and you realize that's why he drew his head so huge and the apple so small. And so you kind of laugh at it 3 times. And I thought, it's really a bit of a work of art, his books, where it's got a collection of all these ideas kind of articulated in such a fun way. And that's another example with the penguin and the banana peel with no words. And then I thought, what else I liked was, do you remember Mad Magazine? Did you guys grow up with that? I don't think it exists anymore. But the fold-ins that Al Jaffe used to do, for people who don't know, it used to be the back cover, and you'd kind of fold these pages kind of like this here to make a new context to the picture. And it'd usually have like a little question there. So it's like for many Americans, what is the most important form they will ever fill out? And then it has a blurb. And when you fold it in, that writing down the bottom kind of comes up with the answer, like with a new context. And even the illustration gets reformed into something else. And it's
that's so clever. Huh?
So cool.
Yeah.
And I just started thinking, these are the reasons why I like doing this stuff, because it's all the things I used to enjoy as a kid and stuff that I still enjoy. And it's like riddles and jokes and like magic tricks, which is all kind of leading towards what you were saying, like with a magic trick, there's a big build up, and then they're kind of leading you to believe something. And then you get thrown something unexpected. And it's just awesome. It kind of takes you out for a ride and kind of makes you think differently and takes you away from the everyday life for a moment. So that's kind of why I think I like doing these things. So basically these shorts are short animations in a short amount of time. You can create a series if you want, like a comic strip. You know, when we had back in the day of newspapers, my favorite section would be the comics. And I thought, okay, it's kind of like that as well, where every day someone would draw a comic and then they'd throw it away, and the next day they'd do a new one. And each one is of one idea. But then some of them are so good that people would cut them out and put them on their fridge or put them in their cubicle.
Totally. I used to have like a stack of them cut out.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's just the same kind of thing where, it's all done in like a hokey kind of line drawing style, no color, no effects, because you don't have time to do that every day. But that kind of adds to the charm of it. If it was fully rendered, it might not actually perform that well. I think becomes part of what's nice and charming about it all. And so these things kind of help initiate discussion or highlight an issue or entertain people. And yeah, it shows you how your brain works. So it's quite fun doing these kind of things. So then I thought, okay, how did it come about, and how can I kind of help explain how ideas are generated? So it's about your concepting muscle and how to generate ideas quickly. And that kind of comes through my backstory or when I started. So I'm a real, like most of us, come from a visual background. So I started out as a digital designer. And from then, when I was working as a junior or midweight, I'd put together a folio because I was about to kind of move on to my next adventure. And I came across this ad online for a competition that would fly me over to New York. And I'd never been overseas before. So I applied and I actually got it. So it was like for MTV to shoot like a reality TV show kind of thing, which was a bit weird. But at the same time, I'd been offered a job in advertising, which I didn't really know much about. And because I went overseas, I thought I should have a job to come back to. So I said yes. So, when people say they found themselves in a job they never intended, well, I ended up in advertising and I stayed there for many years. But I couldn't...
In New York then, or
no, I came back after New York and came back to Melbourne. And
when was that, may I ask? What year?
I don't know. Probably.
Was it in the 90s or early 2000s?
No, early 2000s. Not 90s, but probably 2006 or something. Something like that. I'm not sure. But I quickly found out like advertising was interesting because I found out there's like a role for art directors and creatives where originally as a visual designer, I was at the end of the production line, I was there kind of executing the animations and the designs, whereas I found in advertising as an art director, you were further up in the chain where you can potentially come up with the idea and kind of shepherd it throughout the end and execute it the way you want and kind of decide how you want to execute the idea. Like, do you want it to be live action? Do you want it animation? Do you want to cell animation, or do you want it papercraft, whatever? And I thought that's a pretty interesting role. So I stayed there for a while, but and I think most of the people here are from animation backgrounds, I'd say, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Yari is from a very different background, but I think it's a pretty diverse. A lot of new people too. I think there's like maybe like several that have like years of experience in the pocket, and then I think VR has a lot of new people too, which is super interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like they bring like fresh energy into this.
Yeah, totally. I feel like an oldie now, but I'm not that old really. So I don't know if you're familiar with the advertising environment. So it's pretty hectic. It's pretty crazy, and there's usually like short timelines and high pressure. And the nature of it is, it's not like mathematics where if you had an equation to work out, if you throw many hours at it, eventually you'll get an answer. There's actually, 1 + 1 = 2 type thing. With design is similar. You don't know if you're going to make an amazing design at the end of it, but you've got this much time. But at least with design, you've got fallbacks. Like, if you were to do a website, you can do it to 80% and it'd still be good enough to work, right? with an idea, it's so like it's kind of intangible. It's very hard to kind of come up with something that's half baked. So the pressure was on to make something new. And so you'd have these briefs where you had to satisfy all these kind of issues, and you had to communicate a certain thing to a certain amount of people, and do it in a way that's kind of brand new and never been done before, because you want to, make people remember it and make it engaging. So it's really hard to have like a week to come up with something that doesn't exist, or sometimes days. So you'd have no guarantees, and you start building up a fair bit of anxiety with that kind of stuff, being asked to create an idea from scratch. And then sometimes you get, pitch attacked when you have a pitch on. I think it's called spec work, is that right, in the States? But, when you pitch for new business.
I think it's pitch.
Same. So it's usually
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, probably. But it's usually when it's on top of your normal work. So it's like on weekends or at nights where, the pressure's really on. You have to present ideas in hours, and you have to produce it, work, and then present it. And it's an insane kind of environment to work in. But in saying that, there was a lot of great things too. And as they say, like pressure makes diamonds. And there's ways that you kind of start training your brain to kind of generate ideas quickly. So I thought I'd run through some of those, because I thought they're quite good tips that I've picked up throughout the years. And one of them is, when you get a brief, one thing I like to do is kind of brain dump all your first ideas. So it's kind of like reading a recipe. You kind of digest it, get familiar with it, ask questions, write notes, but kind of just write everything down, all the first ideas that come to your head. Some of them might be all right. There might be some kernels of gold in there. Sometimes they're just not that great. And I think it's because a lot of people get their initial ideas from their inspiration. Like, everyone has been watching Game of Thrones, so their ideas are around that, or they've been absorbing this kind of TV show or this kind of podcast or whatever. So the ideas start becoming similar, their inspiration. So it's good to brain dump that stuff, get it out of your head, so you clear your head for new ideas to come out. And then you kind of start, after many years of doing this stuff, you start learning about how your brain likes to work. So after brain dumping, I'd spend a bit of time on the brief to think about how to solve it. And if I haven't cracked it yet, I usually walk away from it and kind of just let it marinate. And while it marinates in your brain kind of subconsciously starts untangling things, even though you're not doing it. So going for a walk, doing something completely different and then coming back to it really helps kind of untangle some of those thoughts. And then sometimes, ideas might jump out at you in the shower or on the toilet or while going for a walk or doing something quiet where you've got some quiet thinking time. And so, in the early days when you got all this anxiety and you got lots of nervousness that it might not come out, that makes it really hard to understand. But after a while, you start to trust that it will come. And so all that anxiety kind of goes away. You know that it will kind of come out for you. But there's other tricks which I've learned from my wife, Nat, who's an amazing art director who actually taught me a lot. She's actually a better art director she's better at concepting ideas than me, actually. And she's awesome, and she always helps me out. And one idea that she'd picked up that kind of stayed in my head was, when you're coming up with an idea, I think a lot of people have this issue where when you have a blank canvas, it's really hard to start. And that's why Inktober is really easy, because there's prompts, right? When you start putting rules and restrictions toward things, your brain actually works better, and it's easier to kind of work within restraints than if you had a blank canvas. So this idea was, to put a duck in something. So if you were to do like an ad for a car or a story, you think, okay, this is for a 4-wheel drive and it's about a family, but you have to import a duck inside the story somehow. So you start thinking, do they have a pet duck, or are they going to the pond for a picnic, or does the kid have a soft toy? And so you start thinking about these things, and all of a sudden your brain starts taking you to different places. And that trick is just about putting constraints in there. And all of a sudden, you will probably most likely have an idea that's completely different to someone else because, you're going at it with the idea of putting a duck in there. So it's
That's
just
super interesting.
yeah, like there's lots of those kind of great things that kind of help you. The other one was to bounce ideas off someone. In advertising, there's a common pairing of an art director and a copywriter, and that's to do with the art direction, but also writing the copy for things. But also, so that when you spend time together, you're actually bouncing ideas off someone. I've found it in the past working solo has been very hard. And as soon as I start talking to someone, even if they're not giving you the ideas, letting those ideas out and bouncing off a wall, they might say something that triggers something to make your brain go on a different tangent. And that makes a huge difference. And you'll be surprised how much easier your ideas start flowing. And all of a sudden, when you're in those kind of mental blocks, your brain will just start flowing and you just don't want to talk anymore. You just want to start writing ideas down. And another thought that I found was to fill your life with like varied experiences. Like, if you were just staying at home and then going to doing your work in the office and then having dinner, watching TV, going to sleep, if you continue that cycle and stay within it, you're kind of being inspired by the same sources. So even if you went for a walk to the post office, you might see something happen. You might see a dog chained to the, lamppost, and it might be doing something. Or, if you decide to go rock climbing or, go bowling, you might pick up little experiences from everyday life that might kind of fill your ideas with a more varied kind of inspiration. And the other thing is to have an opinion. And I learnt that off a really great senior art director once, where it's so simple, but a lot of the time you're quite, sometimes when you're coming up with an idea, you're a bit nervous about what people think, but a lot of the time you just want to hear what that person thinks. You want to hear their opinion. So having your own voice and having an opinion on an issue is a really great place to start. So there's some tips about, generating ideas, and that's just some pictures from some of the stuff I used to do where I guess my area is more to do with interactive experiences. So like, gesture, interactions, touchscreen, object stuff, even like that.
So absolutely not what I expected.
I know, that's why I thought I'd show it, because all the stuff I do on Quill is all animation based. But this is really where I spend a lot of time, and that's like a studio shot with people having an artist that cut stuff out of paper, like silhouettes and stuff, and we ran a camera through it. So it's all these kind of things that was my background. It was very, very different. But you can kind of see where the idea generation portion of things kind of came from. And then I went freelance after many years, and I found that, I found a lot of freedom in finding your own clients and picking the projects that you want to work on. And advertising was really like a young person's game, kind of like what you said, Goro, when young blood comes through. I think a lot of the times I felt like I could see some of the older teams kind of disappearing slowly and then young blood coming in. And I think that was just a natural cycle of things. And that's kind of like with like sports teams, when you start bringing young players, because they'll be the next generation, you start breeding the next generation of creatives, and, they also are happy to work longer hours and getting paid a little less. So I felt like I was never going to last and become an old man in advertising. So I hatched my plan to get out. And there was also a really pivotal moment when my son was born, and I was at work a lot, and I was FaceTiming him, and I realized, my parents ran a restaurant and I barely saw them. I kind of hung out with my grandparents most of the time, and I thought, that's not really what I intended. So that was really the kind of pivotal point of me going and hatching a plan to get out. So then, I won't go through this, take too long, but this is the kind of stuff I'm doing now in freelance. So similar stuff to advertising stuff, doing, interactive documentaries, and then starting to pull in more illustration stuff, right, for games and stuff like that. So this is what I'm working on now. I'm working for a
That
game.
looks more like you.
Yeah, so it's kind of slowly moving towards the stuff I really love to do. So this is like a game for a company that's helping kids with attention deficits. So, this is art directing a story, a world, characters, all that kind of stuff. So that marries up interaction, animation, illustration, that kind of stuff. And this is a side project that I've been working on for a long time called Skate Bums, and that's like a mobile game I'm working on. So that's what keeps me super, super busy throughout. And so that's a little bit about me. And so now I'll go through the tips that I learned from Inktober. And now I'll start getting into the Quill stuff. So some tips I found was to kind of reuse and recycle stuff. I found that super, super helpful. It's all about being resourceful. So when I did characters like this guy, I'd import him and just, if I was to make a new character, I'd just kind of quickly move his assets around, kind of like a Muppet, right? You know how Muppets make all these different characters just by using different noses and stuff like that. So instead of making characters from scratch, I'd just quickly grab these and just change their proportions or whatever, and add mustaches, and that's a little bit massive.
But, that's all right.
You just try to be super, super quick because, I'm constantly on a time limit. So, I don't know. I didn't really think about this when I was doing it, but,
yeah, you had a lot of characters, like a conference room full of people, and they all look different and stuff, right?
But they're all the same guy. Like, oh, this is terrible.
Right.
But it's just. There we go.
There we go.
That's starting to look like someone. But if you look closely, it's basically the same guy. You're just making their heads, like their eyeballs a bit bigger, their eyebrows a bit thicker, bigger.
So then the way you draw them is also strategic with like one stroke, since that's so you can select them easily, right?
Yes. But when I started doing it, I didn't do it very well. So the face is kind of made up with some bad strokes.
Oh, okay.
But, you end up being scrappy, and the poly count, triangle count doesn't matter. So you just do what you can to get it through quickly. So the other thing was to pick a color palette. You can kind of see it's just grayscale. And so we've just got like a dark, a light, and then a mid-tones and stuff. So instead of mucking around with color, you're just looking at levels, and kind of, you don't have to think about that huge portion of work. The other tip was to keep people guessing till the end. That's kind of like the joke thing. And I read this awesome book called Invisible Ink about storytelling. And they say for a story, it's kind of like a joke. A joke is a really great example of a story where you only put details in there that are useful. So if you talk about a pirate walks into a bar, and you say the pirate walks in with a parrot on his shoulder. If the parrot's not part of the joke, just remove it, Everything should serve the punchline. And I thought that's a really beautiful summation of how you should approach stories, You can add details later, but from the very beginning, just try to keep it simple and only add things that will actually serve you in the end. And so with Inktober, a lot of the times, because they had a prompt, I'd start with a punchline and kind of work backwards.
That's pretty impressive, though. Like the consistency of how you deliver it. Of course, there's like some of them are like more amazing than others. But you always had like a strong keep people guessing till the end is, for me, that's like a really hard bullet point there, right? It's very difficult.
And that goes back to what we were talking about with jokes and riddles and magic tricks. That's the fun part, getting people to think something and then showing something different. I get a lot of joy out of that stuff, Even, I like seeing when people, have a bit of a laugh or a bit of a smile. And, you're only spending a short amount of time on these things, so they just throw away things. But if they can get a laugh here and there, it's kind of really enjoyable. And so the other tip is to be resourceful and just reuse things. There's no rules, just reuse the nose for other things. flip the arms, all that kind of stuff. And it's about being scrappy and not crappy. And I had this example because my son was playing Lego, and when you have like a Lego set for a spaceship, you've got all the parts, you can do it. But if you don't, and then you start using other parts for the wings, and you kind of start using that, sometimes becomes better than the set. It becomes more interesting. So there's something really nice about that aspect of kind of being resourceful. And I think when you do these kind of things, you're so short of time, that resourcefulness comes out as charm, I think. I hope, anyway. And then the next part, I thought, let's show some of the tips for like getting big bang for your buck. So these are like my best friends for adding complexity to animation in a short amount of time. So Anim Brush is great for fire and wind and water. Like I think I had one animation, which is this scout who sets fire to this scout hall. And so there's no animation in there except for fire. And that's super, super easy because, you just use the Anim Brush. But all of a sudden, you can get so much animation out of that. It just looks like you've spent a lot of work on it. But other got, really great tips. Let me try to do this. Getting into Quill now. So I might have to concentrate. I'll just do a demo on this guy. Oops. Okay. It is really weird because I've never done Quill in front of anybody before. I'm sure this would have been weird for you the first time, Gora, but you've done it like a million times now.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint the first time I did it. I started with Photoshop and Procreate and stuff, live demoing. So once you get used to that, it's all transferable. So.
I feel like this is very private, and everyone's getting a bit nervous.
You're naked now.
Yeah, I feel naked. But Goro, I actually am naked. Little did you know. No, just kidding. No, I'm not.
That's why you got to join the live streams, guys.
Exactly.
So this is my favorite tip: adding wind in your hair, and all of a sudden he's alive. Grab tool for like dancing. So simple, so easy, so amazing. Puppet tool for walking. I thought this is a good tip. Like, I never do walk cycles in these things because it takes a long time. But I thought, I always do this, kind of up and down with a puppet tool. Can you see that?
Oh, and then you just cover, because you only render a 2D video, right? So it looks like it's walking.
It's like that thing when you walk down the stairs. Look at that you do. Yeah, so anyway, that's a quick, cheap trick that I always do. Step repeat,
well, now you can actually position a camera into the space and then have it fixed, right? And then you can just animate towards camera, which makes things much easier.
I hate doing walk cycles. They just take too long. I just don't have time for that stuff. Step repeat, absolutely love. Duplicating animations. All of a sudden, you've got a massive, like a really complex animation if you repeat that. Transform keys, separate axis stuff, and camera moves. That's the other one. That was good to show. Oops. Just not even animating. I think I like super lazy. When you do just dramatic camera movements, like stuff like that, it saves you a lot of time and it gives you a lot of bang for buck. Like, it adds to the story without you animating stuff. They're the cheap tricks that I use all the time, basically.
You do it so effectively, though. Like, you're a master at that, so it's always a joy to watch your content.
A master of cheating.
Well, that's what film is, right? So.
Yeah, right. So the next thing I thought, okay, this is where I thought I'd do the demo. So I thought it was a fun idea to get people on the VA group to come up with prompts. Yeah. So I thought this is the process I usually go through for Inktober, like starting with a prompt, for example. So I said cat, just as an idea. I list all the ideas straight away. So cat is like fur, claws, tail, kitty litter, cat food, that kind of stuff. And I don't actually write it down, but I think about it. in my head. And then think of interesting ideas around the word. So could be funny scenarios or strange features. Like a cat, they say it's got 9 lives. That's a really good one. Or when a cat falls, it always lands on its feet. That kind of thing. So then you start thinking, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then you think, how can the word be the punchline? So you could think of it from a different point of view, like, maybe it's about a family looking for a pet, and they were deciding from a cat to a dog. And then when they get the dog, all of a sudden it turns out to be a nightmare. So then it ends up being, actually, I should have got a cat, or something like that. Or maybe it can be the reveal. So maybe this guy comes out of a place with all these scratches all over him, and his furniture's all destroyed, and then it turns out it's a cat. And you never even see the cat. There are different ways you can kind of play with the prompt. And then I thought, how can the prompt cause a lot of pain or a lot of joy? And then the third thing is, which breaks a lot of ideas, is it feasible in Quill in a short amount of time? And a lot of the time, it's no.
That's a big one.
Yes. So I wrote some of the prompts that you guys put in. I think fan was on. I think that was your one, Tyler.
Sir.
That was a good one. I thought that was a good one because it had a lot of different ways you can go about it. Like, could be a ceiling fan. Someone could be looking up and dreaming from bed. Could be a handheld fan, those tiny ones. Could be a paper fan, or it could be a super fan. And I thought, oh, that'd be really fun if there was like a stalker who's like watching someone. And I thought, there's no way I could do that in 30 minutes. That's impossible, because you have to set up that, who he was and why, who's he a fan of, all that kind of stuff, and what is he going to do. And there was another idea, Flea, I think it was from Nick or Johnny Belmont or someone. And I thought it would be cool to have like a Rube Goldberg kind of machine thing, like a domino effect where, a guy falls off a ladder, or like a dog knocks him off a ladder. He spills the paint, pours it on someone, trips over, sets something on fire, that kind of thing. And then you think the dog's at fault, and then you zoom in, it's got fleas or something like that. And I thought, that's impossible to do. I'm not going to do so many characters. I got to set up a house. I got to do a dog with reactions. Impossible. So I scrapped that idea. Mermaid, I think it was your one, Goro. And I thought maybe like a mermaid could be in a claw machine, and like a dad's trying to get it for his daughter who really, really wants it, and she loves mermaids, and he's really struggling with it because, claw machines are impossible, and the tail kind of hooks onto something. And I thought maybe it can haunt him throughout when he leaves a place and he's still dreaming of it or something. I thought, that's going to take a long time. Doing the claw machine, all the other toys in there, the claw itself might be easy to animate, but then I got to do the daughter. It was just too much. And I thought mini golf, because bringing back to the idea that, when I mentioned have a varied kind of experience in life, I went to my nephew's mini golf party. So that's why a mini golf idea came along. So I thought that'd be a really good shape for like a mini golf hole where the tail keeps knocking the ball away or something. And I thought similar thing. I thought too long, don't want to do it. So the idea I thought was to go with the ceiling, with a fan. And I thought it might not be the best idea, but it really demonstrates those shortcut ideas really well. Like a fan's awesome because you can get the fan animation really quickly. So I'm going to try to demo this, and this is where the nervous part comes in because I've never done this before really in front of people. So what I do normally is I open up like a template scene, and it's nothing more than like a floor, maybe some walls, and a person. And usually I delete the walls because I don't need it. And the person's there for me to do what I showed you before, like make heaps of new characters with him. But
is he based on your appearance?
No, not really. Portrait? No, my appearance is in. I've done other ones. I've got like longish hair, like more like that-ish. I don't know. My nose is not so long, but I'll show you. It doesn't really look like this guy. I've done a few little clips with me in it, and I was thinking I'll do a bit more because I've got a really strange upbringing, and there's a lot of stories I want to share with you guys because it's just so strange that I think it's hard to explain. I thought, when you do those about sections in your website, if you want to tell people, there's only so much you can say, and it kind of feels weird. I don't want to talk about myself. I want to talk myself up. So I thought maybe it would be fun to have just a bunch of clips about my stupid life and all the things that I'm afraid of. And like, I used to get chased by dogs all the time, and I'm afraid of birds, all that kind of stupid stuff. I thought if you watch a couple of those, you'll probably get a good idea of who I am. And it kind of explain all the weird quirks that I have. So yeah, I'm going to try to do this really quickly. The idea was, it was about a desk fan in a room. And because it's hot, the fan's kind of doing that rotating thing, right, that it does. And I thought because it's hot, the window will be open. So maybe this is in an apartment. And I thought, most apartments, there's like pet owners with a cat. So the cat's hot and it kind of walks across the windowsill because that's what cats do, and maybe it's hot. And then that so happens when the fan kind of turns and then blows on the cat, cat gets spooked and then flies out and falls out the window. I thought maybe that might be fun to do.
All right.
So that's what I'm going to attempt. So what I'm going to do is do the fan. So start with a vague idea of how I was going to do this. So hopefully it all kind of works out. So I use the Daniel brush like that. Okay, that'll do. I was going to do this, copy the smears, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? So I thought, all right, let's just grab that and rotate it, maybe just like that. Yeah, perfect. So
That's so awesome. Just 2 frames?
Yeah, 2 frames.
That's amazing.
That's it. That's the end of the stream. No, it's not. No, it's joking. Okay, so
Done.
yeah.
Ship it.
All right, now I'll do the stand, which I'll just quickly do the whatever that bit's called, the nose maybe. Stand, super simple because we don't really care about the model, like how good it is. We just want to make it look like a fan. Maybe put some buttons on there. Beautiful. And then I want to do that cage. So this is another thing I do. I reuse assets. So I've got that thing that I made a while ago. And all it is like a bunch of stuff I use all the time. I just need the circle. It's based on Yari's one, but it's just not as awesome as Yari's probably. So, okay. Just pretend I work faster than this normally because I don't have people watching. But,
it's all right. It's fast enough.
Cool. This is the ring.
You're moving lightning fast.
Okay. So you know how we've got those rings that frame the wire rings? So I'm just going to do that a couple of times.
I used to sit in front of that and then just say,
yes.
Then, right?
Okay, so I stuffed up the step repeat, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And then I'll just quickly draw the white bits.
Like you said, scrappy. Adds charm to it.
But I also said not crappy.
Well, you're working so fast that you're going through like thousands of iterations a minute, and this is just the best one that you found.
Yeah, but it's not great. It's killing me.
Let's just keep going. It's
okay,
good.
fan.
Good.
All right, cool.
Perfect.
So what I'll do is I will group it. So that body piece. I might start naming stuff because it gets messy. And when you start doing groups and stuff, it always says you can't put it there because it's got the same name, which is a pain. Okay, so this is going to be the head of the fan. Fan's in there. So the head's that, okay? I'm going to do transform key. I'm going to make it turn. So reset pivot. Maybe make it move. Whoops. Make the pivot back there. Maybe turn there as the first one. The next one, I'm going to turn here. So you've got that motion, which is pretty quick, right? That's pretty awesome to do. And I love that you can copy frames now, or keyframes, and then put it here. Yes, so got that. Okay, awesome. So And this is like the major piece of the story, right? This is the fan. So, you know, you could do the fan in a super quick amount of time. That's what I like about it. Okay, so you want a little bit of a pause, and then you want it to come back. Okay, that pause is pretty long. Maybe there. Maybe copy, paste. Okay. Cool. Oh, yep. Okay, cool. And I'll put that into a folder and loop it. Okay, sweet. So now we've got a fan that goes on forever. Okay, cool. So fan's done. Now I'm going to make a table. So I cheated and used this rectangle.
Nice.
Which is weird because it's so hard to make a rectangle, right?
Yeah.
So do a table, maybe a bigger table or something like that. Oh, whatever. Chuck the fan on top. Okay, cool. So fan's gonna go here. Boop. And you know, when I turn off the shading, everything should be forgivable, you know. Is this table? Yep. Call this table. Okay, cool. Let's do some legs real quick, just because I'll just do some blocks, whatever. And it's nice having that floor there. It just hides a lot of errors and like stuff I don't care about because we're being scrappy. Oh my god, the table's on a slant. So okay, so if I was to do this for real, I would not care about it. So maybe I'll just do it like that. Okay, table's done. I'm gonna do something on the table. Like I need like some paper. I thought it might be good to have some paper that kind of you know gets blown a little bit, so we know that the fan's working. So I thought I'll do a piece of paper, just do a few frames and do the. I kind of want it to go like just now, like when the fan kind of blows on it, and I want it to go back to a rest stop. And I thought that's pretty tricky to do, but I think we should be able to get away with it if I do. Just
Yeah, so the way I would do it is I would just duplicate this paper.
Yep.
And then make it still, and then then close the span and replace it with the animated portion and close the animation and the
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, but I was gonna do a similar thing, but I was gonna just make it kind of start
I know
with
what
nothing
you mean.
and go slowly. So it's kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
We'll end it on a flat one, and then maybe in the middle, just make it go a bit more crazy.
And you do a hold frame in the beginning and at the end, right?
Yeah.
That works.
Oops. I'm not looking at the picture. I'm kind of looking at the timeline, but that's all right. Like it kind of starts and stops. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So that will do for now. Let's chuck it back here. Cool. Might actually make it. Do you know what? I'll put it onto the table first. Oh, it's a pretty huge piece of paper. Okay, I knew there was going to be a bit of like, you know, going inside the mesh, which is going to be a pain. But if it's just floating a little bit above it, that's okay.
That's the beauty about flat shading, right? You can't tell the depth.
It's cheating. So I just hide a lot of stuff like that. But no one cares when you're doing this stuff. If I was to do it for real, you know, I wouldn't be spending only like 20 minutes or whatever doing this stuff. It'd be a lot longer. So, you know, this is just showing how you'd be super fast, I guess. So it needs a paperweight, right? And then I'm going to group that and do a couple of them. So paper, I don't know, any. Okay. So that's a block. Okay, so this is where the cool part is. What we were talking before, the step repeat stuff. Duplicating animations, making it look way more complex than it actually is. Awesome. So just doing a bunch of those. I mean, I'm thinking this is like someone who's studying for exams, maybe something like that. They've got lots of papers. Oops, I didn't loop them. So what I will do is I might normally you close the span, right? Once it's done. Oh, actually, do you know what? Sometimes it doesn't matter because when I film it, it's going to only happen there, or it's going to happen probably here. So I'm just going to move all of them over. I don't have to make this like perfect, I think. So I'm going to do that.
Yeah, we get the concept.
Yeah.
I think what could work also if you put like one frame there, like at the where the playhead was, if you duplicate a frame there and then you loop that whole thing, that might work too.
Will it go
you know what I mean?
every time? Like if I move this at the start?
Yeah, so now you duplicate a frame where the playhead is, where
like
it comes
here.
back. Yeah, right there, you duplicate another frame. No, you create a frame. So trigger and up. Yeah. No, duplicate, yeah.
Yep.
And now loop it.
Oh, that's cool.
Right?
Yes. Genius. That's a great way to do it. That's a really good way to do it. So I'll just quickly match that. That's really clever.
It might not work perfectly for the other timing when it comes back, but it just sets the idea for now, right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Oops.
No, you looped. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gotcha. Cool.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, cool. There's one paper that's kind of overlapping a little bit. Whatever. That'll do. Cool. So it doesn't go there, but it goes here.
Yeah. We get it. Yeah.
All you need is just one shot that works. Because when you use the camera, and that's all that matters, and that's great. I can decorate this with books, but I'll do it later if I have time. It doesn't really matter. I gotta.
Time check here. You're at 1 hour mark right now, but we can go over this. No problem.
Sorry.
No, not at all. It's all good.
Okay, cool.
Most people go over a little bit anyway.
So I'll just move on to the more important bits because the details don't really matter too much. So I'm going to do the window now. I'm going to get check the walls in there. Maybe actually use this wall. Okay. So this wall. Bit annoying and a bit off center. That's something you should fix, but it doesn't matter for now. I'm just making a hole for the window. Window like that. This stuff I can just color it whatever, maybe a little bit darker. Okay, that's a window. Okay, and then the windowsill, we just need like that. Oh, it really sucks that they're not on the axis. It makes things so much easier when it's on the axis. It's a little bit too scrappy / crappy. So what I'm going to do is maybe some foreground buildings kind of stuff. I think when the camera moves, it'll be handy to have that. Maybe just chucking it. Whoops. Another one of these. Just again, camera's probably not going to see it. But yeah, now you got a bit of perspective in the window. That's kind of cool. That's gonna be handy for later. So now we've got a bit of a room. Camera's probably going to be... Oh, maybe I'll leave that wall there. The guy I can probably get rid of. So you'll probably have like...
So while you're doing this stuff, you're already thinking of the shots you need, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what I should be filming. Just so that when... I just thought I might save this in case it gets ruined. Yes. Before I started, I had an idea of what I was going to shoot. And it was going to be, close up of the fan doing its thing. So you establish, oh yes, there's a fan. And you'll see maybe a shot outside where a bit further back where you see the room kind of situation. And then you see the little cat plodding around, and then you go back to the fan where it's, about to spin back this way now. And then the cat's there. His fur starts kind of rattling and then he falls off and falls out the window, that kind of thing. So yes, that's kind of what I'm going for. Sorry. A lot of this stuff is in my head and I don't forget to tell you. But I'm going to start quickly doing the cat. Cat can be like that color. All right. Okay. Let me just do like a kind of funny body like that. Its legs can be just curvy things. I might do his head actually. I don't own a cat, so I don't really have that much reference for cats. I might do something like that. Maybe dark nose, maybe. I think what sells it is the whiskers, so I might go... It looks a bit like a dog, actually, I don't know.
Give it some pointy ears and then you're done.
Couple pointy ears and a long wavy tail.
You have a cat, right, Tyler?
Yep.
Does this look like your cat? Probably not.
Oh, looks just like her.
Looks more like a seal.
We go.
There you go.
No, it's a fox, but it's cool. Maybe it's a house fox.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, a little bit like that.
Yeah.
That'll do. Crappy cat. There we go. I'm probably gonna put some
happy
fur.
Cat.
The neon cat.
I'm gonna put some fur on it anyway because I'm gonna need the fur for when we rustle its kind of fur. So I might just do some Daniel brushing kind of stuff.
Persian cat.
Yeah, just fluff it up a bit. Yeah, now it's looking a bit more fluffier.
Mm.
Maybe the tail as well. Yeah, cool. And then his legs, I'm gonna I might just animate them. So I was just gonna do like frame by frame kind of stuff. I think I just wing it a little bit. I think they bring their paws up kind of like that.
You're gonna dupe that name?
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm kind of like just, what? I'm gonna like hope that this works out. I'm kind of like wish.
Well, you need a little bit of hope.
I might just pull the cord and pretend my internet died, and then just run away and hide in the corner. That was my
That's the
backup plan.
punchline.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, it's so floppy.
Love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Keep it. It's so good.
This is a horror show. Oh my gosh, this cat is awful.
Keep it. That makes it golden.
Okay. So it goes like that. Goes like that. Oh my god, that's so floppy. That leg's probably unnecessary. That first one. Okay.
It's so good though. I love it.
That'll do. Whatever. It's got a floppy foot. It's a floppy-footed cat. Okay. So I was just going to dupe it and move it to the back and then offset the timing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe halfway. That's how cats walk, isn't it? Yeah.
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 That looks just like it.
Yes. If you look at your cat, Tyler, it's probably doing this, right?
And she's literally doing that right now.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so
Dude,
good.
this is so good.
You're just being nice. Alright, so there's cat. Yeah, that looks alright, actually.
It is good.
Yes. That's so funny how it worked out.
You know,
This one's got a lot of
it's
fun.
like this cat has like a little bit of an arrogance to her, so it's really cool with that walk.
It deserves to fly out the window.
Nice.
I forgot his eyes, actually. It definitely needs eyes. Oh, that guy's gone. I was going to use his pupils because I hate doing things from scratch. It just takes too long. Maybe that'll do. And cats usually have like one of those kind of eyes, right? It looks a bit like, yeah, okay. And then maybe it's, they're always pretty grumpy, so, or whatever. Maybe it's like that. Perfect.
Not very impressed, the cat.
It's a hot day, just wants to get out of the sun.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah,
Look
cool.
at that. Perfect.
Next, I'm gonna make its fur move. Actually, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna make it walk first, right? So, the shot will be Catty going. There it is. On the windowsill, so we'll go. And then its fur will blow. So, so this got a lot of planning involved, I guess. More than I thought, to be honest. Okay, let's see if this works. Please work. I'm going to try to do Puppet Tool. So now I'm going through all the different tricks that I was mentioning before. That's why I thought this is a good example. So, oops. That'll do.
There we go.
Not bad. His leg's kind of doing a bit of moonwalking, but that's all right. You get the idea. So what happens is he'll walk, and then I'll probably duplicate this and flatten it maybe, and scrub out everything. Oh, actually, no. Yes, I will actually. I'll cut that, duplicate it, flatten it. Oh no. Duplicate it first, flatten it, close that span, and start that there. Will that work? I'm trying to get a flat version of this cat.
Yeah, I think you just trimmed the layer, but
Ah, shit.
you have to remove the keyframes, right? Of the duplicate.
So what I want is a still picture of this cat at this point.
Okay, so very simple. Just go to the point where you want to copy the pose.
Yes.
And then create a new layer outside of the folder. Yeah.
Yes.
And then just copy now the entire cat with select across selections. Select across layers.
This.
Select this one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then select the cat. Cat.
Oh, copy and paste.
Yeah. And then paste it. Now select the new layer. And then move the top. Yeah. Or yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it goes like that, and then we'll swap cats.
Yeah.
So basically it.
I think you got
that's
it.
right.
Yeah, I think you got it.
Yes! So this is wind cat. Okay, so from here, you just do the big gust of wind. Just do nudge. This is where all the like fur and stuff kind of comes in handy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So cat comes in, walk, 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 switch to windy cat. And then from there, I'll just probably keyframe it to go out. So windy cat to cat that falls. Maybe gets a bit scared. So just like frame by framing this a little bit. Probably its back kind of gets pulled first. Whoop. His eye gets a bit bigger and scarier. Maybe its mouth opens, probably. Like that. Let's draw a little mouth in there. Could be fun. Whatever. Oh my gosh. Tyler, your cat is so ugly.
I know, right? She's a little monster.
Okay, here we go. Let's make it look a bit crazy. I don't know if you see this eye, but put it there anyway.
Get some more teeth.
Well, that looks pretty good actually. The craziness of it. And then this is kind of the fun part. Whoa. Oops. Cats land on their feet though anyway, so oh, he should be moving. Oh my gosh. Out. Out. I'll just play that quickly because it might have been a mess. Whoa. Okay, that's working all right. It should kind of happen pretty quickly anyway, right? I'll just keep pulling it, whatever. Should be out by now, I think. Whoa. Can't even see what's going on. But if you play it, whoa.
Nice.
Just chuck it away now. See ya. Okay, cool. And that should be it.
Done.
The cat dead. Whoa. You probably speed it up.
Oh my god.
This is so good.
You can add smears and stuff, but that's the payoff. But that's it. The other things I would have done is maybe put some books on there, which is just like I'll probably just get a rectangle and just color it. Do another rectangle and then fill it with white or something like that. Might as well do it. It's kind of almost done already, but super fast. That kind of thing. Just decorate the table a little bit, that kind of thing. That's what's so fun about Quill. It's so fast to do. But yeah, all of a sudden it's a busy table. So what I do then is just use the capturing tool and go, okay.
You want to save at this point.
Yeah, good point.
Once.
I don't know if I'll try to capture it, but I'll kind of show you what I mean. But, first I'll have an establishing shot like that. Right, so, oh yeah, there's a desk fan. And then maybe I'll cut back further so it's like, oh yeah, displaying some papers on the table. Yeah, cool. And then I'll go, maybe show a shot where there's a bit of the table and the cat. And the cat's like, his tail's disappearing.
That's fine.
Don't worry about it. But yeah, and then he's walking, yeah, cool. And then cut back, oh yeah, the fan's coming back around, isn't it? Yeah, coming back around, maybe a bit slower. And then all of a sudden, you go to the part where he's about to fall. And then you go, ah! And then maybe the end part might be like an ominous shot of the fan just continuing to go. And that's it.
It's so good.
And the idea is just like, I thought it was funny, like, if you were in this apartment, you owned a cat, and you came home and the cat was gone, you would never think it'd be the fan. So then at the end, when the word fan, like, the story kind of plays on that kind of idea.
Yeah, this was super, super, super interesting and super cool stream.
Thanks
so much, Jono.
I'll let you guys go to sleep. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Yeah, bye, Jono.
Bye.